Going on, guys? In today's video I wanted to show you guys around my shop. This shop has been in the making for a few months now. I've been doing this for about 5 months, dedicated in this space. Before that, I was just doing stuff around the house and started to fall in love with woodworking. So I just started to create out a shop. So let's take you around and show you what I have. And, I want to get a good picture of how this evolves throughout the years as well. So let's get into it. The next thing that I have is my DeWalt planer. This is something that I use pretty much on every project that I do, unless it's a very small intricate project. I really enjoy this planer. It does do great with dust collection as long as you have something connected to it. I connect just a basic shop vac to a cyclone, and that's been working out good for me. I don't have the helical head on it, but eventually I'm going to get that on there. So how I have this set up is pretty simple. I just have the vacuum going from the planer to the cyclone separator, which I got from Oneida, and just throw it on top of a 5-gallon bucket. This is going to prevent this shop vac from filling up way too quickly, where you're going to be replacing bags nonstop. So if you're not going to do a full-on dust collection, this is a good way to start. When this fills up, I just throw it out and there's nothing in the shop vac. It makes it much easier for cleanup, and it's a lot cheaper too. Now this cart I kind of just made for the planer when I bought it. It's pretty much just 2x4 that I planed down and stained it, and then put 1/2-inch ply on the top and bottom. I keep my glue down there for when I do joining sleds, just because I don't have a full-size joiner. So I made this cabinet a couple weeks ago, actually. I originally was going to put a drill press on top of here, which I did. That's why I don't know if you could see the holes there. I got the Wen 9-inch drill press, and it was just severely underpowered. I didn't like it whatsoever. I actually got better results with just a DeWalt 20-volt drill. So what was the point of it? There was none. So I returned it, but I still have this stand that I use just for everyday stuff that I can put into the drawers. Right now, I just hold a bunch of bits. I have these and then some Irwin Foister bits. So it's pretty basic, but it does the job. Now, this is my miter stand. I created this myself and just kind of drew it up in my head and made it into what I wanted it to be. It's pretty basic, but it works for what I needed, and that's what you guys need to do. You see videos, things, how to create stuff, different stands, but you need to customize it to what works for you, and I'll tell you now why it works for me. So I did a drawerless miter stand, and soon you'll see why. That is my mini split that keeps heat in the winter and air conditioned in the summer. Obviously, this could not be blocked, so the best thing for me was to make a drawerless miter stand. Down here, I just have some bags, my shop vac that runs to the miter saw up here, and just a cut-off trash can that I just toss, bits and pieces from whatever I cut off at the miter saw. So these things are pretty cool. What they do is start the shop vac up when the tool turns on. So I have a couple of these around the shop. This one goes towards the miter saw. So when that comes on, so does the shop vac. And I don't have to try to think about it. And, half the time it doesn't get turned on. So this is a cool tool. Next, we have this little wall I made with just a bunch of my layout tools. It's been helpful just to keep it near my workbench. This one here, I just scrapped together some pieces of wood, mitered them, and it holds all of my 90-degree clamps. so pretty useful. This here is just a basic concept to hold all of my squares. Again, pretty simple. And it sits on a French cleat. Now down here, I did a French cleat, but then had a change of heart. So I just got magnet strips and put them up here. And for me, it's a lot easier for me to just grab these off and put them down as I need them. This is my miter saw. It's a Skill, what is it? 7 1/4, I believe, but it's sliding. So it does everything that I needed to do. I just replaced it with a Diablo blade, and it works out fine for me. I went ahead and leveled it with this miter saw stand and set the fence to be flush with this fence, so now I can have long pieces on the stand. I just drilled a hole. That's where my dust collection goes, and it just made it pretty simple and easy, as well as installing this hood over top to keep the dust in as much as possible. This is just a basic air purifier. I keep this running pretty much 24/7 to keep any of the fine particles that are floating around out of the air. This is a HEPA filter. I think, I could be wrong, but I think that those filters that hang from the ceiling with no HEPA filter and just like a basic furnace fan are kind of like gimmicky. Like this has a HEPA filter. That's what you need, a HEPA filter, not like a furnace filter. So to each his own, but I think this is a better option. Obviously, if I notice I need it, I'll upgrade it bigger, but I've had it for months and it's pretty clean in here. This little nifty tool I bought after I had kickback on my miter saw. Yes, kickback on the miter saw. It does happen, and this just makes it so you don't have to put your hands so close to the miter saw when you're cutting smaller pieces. So, a great investment. Up here is this little storage rack / table that I made for my Kreg 720 jig. I just cut out 2 holes, real sloppy. As you can see here, they're pretty sloppy holes. Who cares? Put in some screws to hold them so I can keep this out of the way unless I'm using it. But I really have come to love this Kreg pocket hole jig. I'm going to do a review on this soon. I had the trigger, I think it's a 520 Kreg, and it was terrible. The biggest difference is this grip pad back here holds your wood in place, where with the other ones, it does not. And when you clamp down and drill, the wood moves, so it messes your hole up. But like I said, I'm going to make a video on this because this is a good product. My sander / pocket hole / circular saw / track saw shop vac is this DeWalt Quiet shop vac, and believe me, it's extremely quiet and it's very useful. So what I did was just ran hose all the way up over on the ceiling and then drops down right into the middle of my workbench. That made it easy for me to easily have my dust collection not in the way when I'm walking through, but also enables me to just grab it and use it as I need. But we'll get to that section of the shop next. Here I just went ahead and got one of these like basic, this is Craftsman small parts organizers, and I use this little label maker here, connects to my phone, and just prints out the labels for the screws as I need them. It comes in handy, and it just makes things more organized for me. So that's how I like it. I got some extra screws up here that I don't need stuffed into these little drawers. I have a lot of bits here, as well as some drill bits here. And then up here, I made this on a French cleat as well. It's basic, again, used labeling all the way up to mark out the different grits. and it comes in handy. It's very close to my workbench, which is what I like. And I got one of these dust masks for when I'm doing like sanding and stuff. So this is a cabinet that I made for my skill router table. Now this router table it's not the best one in the world, but it does the job, and a lot of people criticize it when it really shouldn't be criticized that much. Based on my experience, I've gotten pretty clean cuts with it, and the fence has worked good enough, and that's all I needed. I didn't need some extravagant like Jessam router table for now. Maybe I'll get one in the future, but who knows. Anyway, these drawers down here just hold all of my router stuff. I got the guides that came with it, a miter, gauge. I got my drill bits here, more drill bits, spiral upcut bit here, which has been pretty useful. Circle jig, edge guide, all the router stuff. Down here I just have like random hand tools. I haven't really found a need for this space yet, but I'm sure I will. And down here is just more router stuff. I got the router bushing set, some templates, stuff like that. Then I made this clamp rack, which holds all my clamps. It's just a basic French cleat system. These are a bunch of like Rockler clamps, Harbor Freight. I have Bessie in here, some passed down clamps that I've been using. So again, it does the job. Now this section here is all of my hand tools that I have displayed with a French cleat wall, as well as the batteries down here, and my DeWalt vacuum that I use to clean pretty much every day. I really love that little vacuum there. But I have all my power tools right here. This is my DeWalt pin nailer. I have a little space down here for my pin nails, all my charging station stuff here for my batteries. This is like the cleaning area. I got spray, hand sanitizer, water. I use this for cutting boards. And then up here, I don't really have nothing fancy up here. I have like a number set kit from Miles Craft for my router. And then I just have a big trash can tub thing that I bought, and that's my toolbox for when I need to go into the house and do stuff. I'll throw some tools in there. Coming over to here, I have more French cleat stuff. I had made this Phillips head, flathead screwdriver holder. It just holds all of them nicely up there. I have my chisel set down here. I often use the hammer with it, so I keep that there too. And then just some miscellaneous stuff here that I'll sporadically grab. A lot of my safety stuff here, the mask, ear protection. I like Propel packets, so I keep them on stack. And then another small parts organizer here that I don't use that much anymore because I got the bigger one. Up here, I keep all my glue, and I highly recommend Typon. I like it much better than the Gorilla Glue. That's just my personal opinion. It's just been better for me. And then I have the Wen oscillating spindle and belt sander. This thing does everything that you need it to do, and it costs like $200. For me, there was no reason to get anything more expensive to do such a simple job. So that's what I went with. And then over here, I have my storage rack. I keep all of my plywood, my lumber, dimensional lumber, all the offcuts, all inside of this one rack. It's been very helpful to me, and it's been very useful. I'm able to keep 8-foot, 4-foot, 2-foot sheets of ply, dimensional lumber. I have 2x4 offcuts right there, some plywood offcuts, and this is a bunch of hardwood offcuts. followed by this little Kreg jig clamp hand thing to pick up plywood, which is pretty cool to use. This over here is my fridge that I really don't use that much. It's an old school fridge, but I do keep water in here just to keep me hydrated throughout the day. If I need anything else, I could just go in the house. This section here, I really haven't found anything to do with it yet. It's kind of just empty. So I need to think of some ways to utilize this space. But for right now, it's kind of just like this. So I think eventually I'm going to get rid of this whole thing and put a joiner here because I do have the width for it. So we'll see. Here I have all of my layout tools that I use. I put them all up on this wall because this whole wall is plywood back here. So it's just easy to just throw screws through it and it just holds whatever I need it to hold. I have layout tools, joiner jigs, small parts, table saw sled, the miter gauge, small strip jig that I made, and whatever else I decide that I want, along with my TV and my little wood clock that I got there, which is pretty cool. Now, last but not least, I have my workbench. This is a 3x6 workbench that I built. This is all micro jig slots here that I can use clamps, stops, anything that I need. I put it on the side to give myself a vise option if I need to use a vise. So this little area has become very useful and handy. The rest of the workbench is just open, and that's what I need it for, so I could have some space. This is my Rockler Dust Right hose that comes down from the ceiling, and I did something pretty cool with it. I'll show you. I put this little remote button thing on here that I can plug into a wall plug. It comes with this and then the wall plug, and you can just easily turn on your dust collection. Very simple. So it was like $10. So I don't need none of that Festool Bluetooth. I got this right here. So easy enough. Then down below of the table, I just have a power strip down here so I can plug in whatever I need. I just made this drawer. It actually goes the whole length back here. And I'm going to make another one too. And it stores all of my corded power tool stuff. I got my Kreg track saw right there. I got a Skill plunge router here, the DeWalt orbital sander, and then the Skill circular saw. And it all stays all tight and put away right in here. So that's been nice to have. On the other side of it, there's nothing yet, but I'm going to be putting 3 drawers in here just to store, whatever I need to. Down under here, I have my shop vac, as well as the micro jig clamps I was telling you about, and another one of those Oneida cyclones, which you can see right there. And it's just hooked up to the back of my table saw. Now let's get to the table saw. So, what else did you expect? I have a YouTube channel. I do woodworking. What kind of table saw did you think I was going to have? Obviously a SawStop. So this SawStop has been very powerful and good enough for what I need. Obviously, I did not want the width of a full cabinet saw here because I just don't have the space yet. And honestly, this is only half of my barn. I just have not finished the rest of it yet, but who knows? If you guys keep watching these videos, maybe I'll be able to finish the rest of my barn. So this thing has been pretty good to me. I had the DeWalt before this, and the DeWalt was fine, but I just wanted the safety of the SawStop, and I think that's what most people buy it for, because I'm 32 years old. I don't want to lose fingers. I have a family to take care of, and I want to keep these. So yeah, I know everybody's going to say, well, if you're careful, yeah, everybody tries to be careful and they still lose fingers. So I didn't want to do that. So I got this and I really do enjoy it. It's a nice table saw to have. And again, I have it hooked up down here to a switch and it turns on the shop vac when the saw itself turns on. So just to give you more of a look around it, I made this little stand for it. It was pretty straightforward, just out of 2x4. But yeah, it's a nice table saw, and it's not really gonna break the bank too much. It was, I think these are like 1,600. You know, some of the other SawStops are $3,000. So it was a good middle of the road that I thought was a good um, budget option for SawStop, I should say. And yeah, that's what I went with. So we'll recap and I will give you a quick pan of the whole shop. And this is what we're working with, guys. I hope you guys liked this video and I hope you find it enjoyable. I'm going to be adding more stuff and I will keep you guys in the loop. I always am thinking of ways to improve this shop. And I have a lot more space that I'm not using yet. So hopefully, eventually, I'll be using it. But look, this is where I do a lot of painting and staining. I got this horse stall that I have not even touched yet, but I want to take down the walls for that. So yeah, there's a lot more to come, a lot more to do. But that is my shop tour.